Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Sam, and you're watching Daily Immigration Dose. That is streaming live at 4 p.m. EST from Monday to Friday. And before moving ahead, let me read out this very important disclaimer. By watching our videos, you understand that the information shared, including user comments, is not a professional advice. Use at your own risk. Our intention is never to offend, it's just a casual exchange of ideas. All right, after this very important disclaimer, friends, thank you so much for joining us in this session and being a part of today's episode. You can also join us in this live episode by dialing the number that is 425 with the access code 988888. So, this is how you can join us, and we are also live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and on X as well. Let us know from which platform you guys have watching us or maybe participating in this session. And meanwhile, I would also like to tell viewers that today our topic is really important and very different because most of the time we haven't been talking about specifically about the agricultural sector. But today we would like to shed light on this aspect as well because there are most of the undocumented immigrants who are currently working as a farmer in agricultural sector. And what about them? What's going to happen with them? And what's the scenario right now? So, today our topic is: will America face a food crisis if migrant workers are deported? To help me out in this session to make this topic even more informative, I would like to welcome my co host Napasa Pradhan. Napasa, please join us and let me know how you're doing. I hope you're doing great.
I am, Sam. Thank you so much for asking, and I'm looking forward for this amazing week ahead of us and see how fast time flies. It's already 10th of January today. Sorry, 10th of
Great.
February
Yeah.
today, and how time flies. But it's really good to be here, and I'm looking for another splendid week ahead.
Mhm.
Of course, we have this very important topic to discuss about today. But before we go into the discussion, I think we should give our folks out there some of the news updates that we have.
Yeah.
So I'll start first with this first one, which is, deported Colombian migrants, decry mistreatment, but some still chase the US dream. Yes, Colombian migrants deported from the US under the Trump administration report, degrading treatment in detention and even during deportation flights. Daniel Vasquez, who's 40 years old, described being shackled and held up in cramped conditions, while Jose Vincent Suarez, who's 58 years old, recounted psychological mistreatment, including sleep disruptions and prolonged forced sitting. And some deportees said migrants were denied bathroom access, even with women forced to urinate in their seats. The Colombian government temporarily blocked a deportation flight over human rights concerns, and this leads to a lot of tensions between the US, with the US as well, despite the risks and hardships that Vasquez remains, determined to really return legally, convinced of better opportunities in the US, that's for sure. While Suarez, on the other hand, warns others also against making the perilous journey. So, this is what is happening to migrants out there, who are being mistreated also, but still want to chase the US dream. Next up, I have fear grips Latino communities amid Trump's immigration crackdown. Folks, Latino communities across the United States are living in fear as rumors and realities of immigration crackdowns spread. Patricia Ruiz Cantu recalls a teenage boy pleading with his mother not to go grocery shopping because he's so fearful that she would be detained, forcing him to take an Uber to shop on her behalf. Even United States citizens, friends like Lutheran pastor from El Salvador are feeling the anxiety, carrying their passports everywhere in case of mistaken identity. While some raids are confirmed, others remain speculation. But for many Latinos, the fear is really constant and inescapable. This next news update is about Goldman Sachs, Trump's immigration crackdown to slow US economic growth. Yes, Goldman Sachs warns the President Trump's immigration restrictions could slow US economy and labor force growth. And analysts predict net immigration will drop to 750,000 annually, cutting GDP growth by zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.4 percentage points this year. So, unauthorized immigration could hit net zero with 500,000 deportations, which is offsetting new arrivals. And industries relying on immigrant labor, such as landscaping and building services as well, face potential disruptions. While inflation effects may be limited, a severe crackdown could, create greater economic instability, and immigration has fueled US labor market growth in recent years, but that impact is now expected to shrink. So, those were a few news updates from my end, and folks out there, stay tuned because Sam has a couple more of news updates for you.
Thank you so much, Napasa, for letting us know about these very important updates. Friends, I also have here's a very important news update that is rupees 60 lakh per person. How agents in India, Canada, and US enable illegal migration. So, this is another very important news update, and that's about how the agents in India, Canada, and US are enabling the illegal migration. The ED, that is Enforcement Directorate, is investigating a vast network of agents across India, Canada, and the US involved in illegal migration schemes. The probe comes after 104 Indians were deported from the US in handcuffs and chains earlier this week. Officials reveal that these agents use fake Canadian college admissions as front to smuggle individuals into the US, and they charge each person around 55 to 60 lakh. Over 8,500 financial transactions are under scrutiny, with many linked to Gujarat based students. Some Canadian colleges near the US border are suspected of facilitating human smuggling. Authorities warn that fraudulent immigration schemes not only lead to deportation, but also legal consequences under Indian and international laws as well. So, experts urge aspiring migrants to seek legal pathways instead of risking their lives and future through unauthorized channels. Moving ahead with my next news, that's another very important, and that's about farm workers in fear. Immigration raids shake California's Central Valley. So, farm workers in California's Central Valley are on high alert following a surge in immigration raids under Operation Return to Sender. The enforcement efforts, which began just before President Trump returned to the office, have left many undocumented immigrants in tension and anxious. And they're also very afraid to leave their homes, even for basic necessities. Advocacy groups warn that the crackdown is disrupting the agricultural work, potentially leading to higher food prices due to labor shortages. While immigration officials claim that they are targeting individuals with criminal records and not the one those who have clean record, but immigrant rights groups argue that families are being torn apart with long-time workers being detained. In response, local organizations have also launched food drives and legal aid programs to support those affected. Civil rights activists also vote to continue fighting for immigrant workers' rights, warning that this could be just the beginning of prolonged struggle. Next news is about Kristi Noem takes charge. Homeland Security Chief focuses on immigration crackdown. So, former South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem has been U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security for just 12 days. But she has already been making waves with a high profile, action packed schedule. Since her confirmation on January 25, Noem has prioritized immigration enforcement by joining ICE. Also, raids in New York, riding horseback, and with Border Patrol agents at the southern border, and also flying in helicopter to assess security operations. She has also been present at major national security events, including Super Bowl safety preparations in New Orleans. Next on our agenda, a visit to Guantanamo Bay, where the Trump administration plans to house thousands of undocumented immigrants. Noem's rapid fire approach signals an aggressive stance on immigration and national security, one that is already drawing national attention. So, friends, these were some important news updates from my and from Napasa's side. I hope you at least got to know what's happening in the world of immigration and also around global politics. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show, because it's not only about daily immigration dose, we also come up with daily immigration news. And there we cover these important news updates regarding immigration. So make sure to subscribe to our channel. All right, Napasa, I think these were some of the news updates. And now let's get back to our today's topic of discussion. So I think, yeah, without any further ado, I think let's start. So please go ahead and start the session.
Absolutely, Sam. Thank you so much. Well, as you've already mentioned, the topic of discussion for today, and it's a very critical issue, migrant farm workers in America, they are on high alert amid ongoing immigration raids as well. And nearly half of California's farm workforce being undocumented. There's fears of deportation, and it's really running high every second. And today we are going to talk about the impact of these raids, the policies behind them, and even the future of America's agricultural labor force, especially with what the scene is right now. So I think I would first start with the importance of migrant farm workers, in the US economy. Because, yes, if you talk about Central Valley, which is one of the most productive agricultural regions in the world, it supplies 25% of the nation's food as well and produces 40% of its fruits and nuts. So, yes, this region really plays a very vital role in feeding the country.
Mhm.
And a significant, portion of the farm workers, nearly 50% are undocumented immigrants, and despite their lack of legal status, they are essential to maintaining the agricultural supply chain. Without them, food production would slow down dramatically. What's going to happen if who is going to replace them if these are removed?
Mhm.
50% means half of them, half of the farmers. And farm work is really demanding and physically exhausting. And not just that, there's enough skill required, enough knowledge required. And yet, many Americans do not want these jobs. But undocumented workers fill this labor gap, and they ensure that crops are planted, harvested, nurtured, and even delivered to grocery stores. And if farm workers they stop working, there's going to be a fear of deportation, or immigration rates, what's happening right now. Food production is definitely going to be affected more and more. And this could also lead to labor shortages, increased food prices, and economic instability as well.
Mhm.
So definitely, I mean, the effects, if you talk about immigration policies, they really extend beyond individual workers as well. They really impact, they have a direct impact on the entire US economy as well.
That's right. I think that's very well put up. And Napasa, as you mentioned about everything, and you have given a gist about the importance of agricultural sector and also what it is all about. Absolutely, I think it's really going to affect majorly, and because currently we have been seeing that Trump is more into, I would say, deporting the illegal immigrants, right? And in agricultural sector, I think there is 2 to 3 million people are there who are undocumented, and I mean who are overall working in the agricultural sector, and out of those, 1 to 2 million people are there who are undocumented. So what about, I mean, it's not possible, for such a short period of time to replace all of them. Or, I mean, how Trump administration is having those, I mean, how they are going to plan out. And it's going to be very difficult because those agricultural workers, most of them are paying taxes, they are living happily, they are having their families, they are not harming the societies, they're not having any criminal background. So till now, they have been working well in the USA, and also they have been providing a lot of to the, America's food, as California, the valley that you have mentioned right now, is covers almost like 45% of food and vegetables from there. So who all, I mean, work on those food and vegetables? Who all bring those foods and vegetables to the stores, to the American tables? Obviously, these farmers, these undocumented immigrants. So what about them? I mean, if they are going to be deported, then I think USA might face food shortages. They might face food crisis until and unless Trump's administration don't have any plan B. Because if they have any plan B, or if they are trying to replace those, 1 to 2 million people from maybe some US born people or maybe some other workers, then I think the US agricultural sector won't be that much affecting. But if there's no other plan B, or if there's no, I would say, machines or nothing replacing to those agricultural people, then I think then it will really lead to food crisis in America a lot. And this is not, I think Americans will be ready to face it, because shortages of food is really hard time for any country. Nobody can expect this thing with any upcoming administration. And that's how it is, because most of the agricultural workers, they are working well. They are going to the fields at 6 a.m. in the morning. They are also working 24 hours a day, and now they are having such a, I would say, that furious, or would say such an anxious feeling. What if they come out from their home, they may be arrested, they may be asked a lot of questions, or they may have to show the documents. So it's very hard for them. They are not able to come out from their houses, and some other people, they are providing the food, I mean the necessary food to their homes, so that they can eat and they can survive. So this is also the condition that what those illegal immigrants are facing right now, especially those who work in the agricultural sector. So what do you think, Napasa? Do you think it's fine that those illegal farmers should be thrown away from the country, or do you think that they should be allowed to work in the country?
I wish there was a way to filter out, who are doing good jobs, who are not doing good jobs, as in legal versus illegal, of course, but also like criminals and non criminals, right? Because there is a whole lot of people out there who are definitely contributing to the US economy, say
Yeah.
that be directly or indirectly, whether they're paying taxes directly or indirectly, whether they're helping with the production of food, etc., etc. I wish there was a way to do that, but since this is happening, I also want to mention about, this what we have been seeing ever since Trump administration. I mean, it's just been not even a month now, and we've seen so much happen, right?
Yeah.
And he has a whole lot of priority given to intensified immigration enforcement and prioritizing mass deportations, showing that he is actually doing what he had said he would do. And this is something they already knew about. And now that he's here, um, I mean, if you talk about Operation Return to Sender as well, right? It was launched in California Central Valley itself. And, if you talk about the arrest, though, there are undocumented immigrants who have been arrested. Some of them, they've had
Yeah.
criminal records, whether it's homicide
Some of,
or
some of them they
drug
have, some
trafficking,
of them they
etc.,
don't
etc.
have.
But
Yeah.
also, yeah, some of them they don't have. I mean, there are long-term residents with no criminal history at all. So, I mean, I think there should be a way to be
Mm-hmm.
able to, I mean, help out these undocumented immigrants. Maybe they really need help on how to get into
I
status,
think.
maybe,
Mhm.
because they're still contributing. And what would America
Yeah.
be without them? I mean, 50% of the whole labor force.
Absolutely.
They would not be able to produce what they're producing today without
And
them.
it's not about, that we are talking about the illegal immigrants, that they have to be protected or they have to be safe. Because their, I
Yeah.
would say, presence will directly affect the US agricultural sector. If they won't be there, then automatically the
Mhm.
US agricultural sector will be in major loss and will severely be affected, in a very bad way. And I think we should
Yeah.
absolutely identify, those illegal immigrants who have criminal background and who don't have, because there are very, I would say, cordial illegal immigrants also who doesn't have any criminal record, or who have a very, I would say, they work in a very good way. They are very punctual. They are very hardworking. They are, I would say, they also pay taxes. So that shows that they are trying to be legalized, but due to some reason, they are not able to. So I think they should be given
Mhm.
a chance, and Trump's administration should not blindly go towards the illegal immigrants. They should be little lenient towards I mean, at least those who are working well for the US economy, for the US agricultural sector. Because if they are going to be removed, then what the US people are going to have? It's not possible for the US born people to work, or to have this labor work. So that's why it will be very difficult. Mhm.
I mean, yeah, that is there, of course, and undocumented doesn't mean that they are entirely criminals as well. I wish, and I really hope that, Trump's administration are going to have a better way to filter this. And also at the same time, imagine the fear everybody's living in, the anxiety. Some of them are not even showing up at their
Yeah,
workplaces because they're so scared that they would be taken away, and their families being separated as well, and even workers, who are really hesitant now to come to the job place. And this panic is very much evident, especially now, in migrant communities. And if these raids continue, I think if especially if this raids happen and they blindly just go on capturing each and every one possible without really being able to differentiate between violent criminals and even hardworking immigrants as well. So I think there comes that main challenge. How when these raids happen, the Trump administration, or the ICE officers, whoever they've put on to
hmm,
different places, are they going to be able to distinguish between these violent criminals and the hardworking
that's
immigrants? And I don't think the what both of these groups of people should be given should be equal, because I think if you talk about the exponential level of who's harming the US community and who is actually
mhm.
adding to the US economy, I think I'm sure intelligent people will be able to answer
Absolutely,
that.
and that's very evident. We all know about this, like who is actually contributing and who is harming, and that's how it should be. And also talking about, there are mostly Latin Americans, like people from Venezuela, people from Cuba, Guatemala, El Salvador, Mexico. So these are basically the people who are working in the agricultural sector in US, and it's been a pretty long time. They have been working even decades, and there wasn't any questioning kind of thing in their working place, at least, like why they are working, how much are they earning. They were earning happily, they were working over there, and suddenly this happens. So this is a very difficult time, not only for those illegal immigrants, those who are working in the agricultural sector, but also for the Americans as well, because they also have to think like how they are going to survive, who is going to produce food, what about the food supply, because after their deportation, I think food demand will increase, but food supply will decrease, and automatically it will lead to inflation, automatically it will lead to high price in food. So this is really going to affect the economy and the agricultural sector in a very severe way. But also, another side, Napasa, most of the people are saying that Trump may try to have robots, or Trump may try to, use some machines so that he can put those machines, or he can put those robots in the agricultural field, so that those undocumented immigrants can be replaced by those robots or those machines. So, do you think that machines or the robots can replace human efforts and entirely work in the agricultural sector without even having any impact or having any negative effect to the agricultural sector? What do you think about it?
Well, I think it's very much true, and maybe Yuri also has the answer to that, because I would like to read what Yuri has mentioned here, saying immigrants play a vital role in the US agricultural workforce. They make up approximately 61% of farm workers, according to the most recently available data, yes, US
Mhm.
Department of Labor survey. 42% were not legally authorized to work in the country, meaning they were undocumented. And that's what Yuri says in his next comment. Following with the third comment from Yuri saying, farmers are facing several challenges in keeping their businesses running, including climate change, bird flu outbreaks, and higher costs for feed and fertilizer. Now, many of America's farmers must face the possibility of the Trump administration uprooting a huge part of the workforce with its threats of deporting millions of undocumented immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I think we all know that the scene out there is a really very challenging one. But, folks, I think what I can say best is probably if you can get in touch with an immigration attorney and they will be able to guide you with your case in the best possible way. Yuri, thank you so much for these very important updates, for this information. And I'm sure, Sam, that also gave you an answer. So,
That's right.
also, folks, I would really like you to subscribe to us. Check us out. We are Immigration Talk Show on YouTube. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. And you can also hit the bell icon so that whenever we have discussions like these, you're also notified. And also, not just in YouTube, we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and also on Instagram. Check us out, follow us, and it'll be really nice to have you support us. Thank you so much for joining us. Yuri and all the many folks out there who are watching us right now, you can also join us on call. It'll be really nice to get to know you, where you're joining us from. Our phone number is 425 and the access code is 988 888. Once you can dial that, please speak. We will be able to hear you. I think now, though, it's time for a short break, right, Sam? We should go
Yeah.
for a short break and we'll be
Mm-hmm.
right back. Today's discussion is on: Will America face a food crisis if migrant workers are deported? Folks, you can tell us your perspective, your viewpoints, and your opinions in the comments. We would like to know. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned on Immigration Talk Show. Welcome back once again to Immigration Talk Show. Thank you so much for joining us on the second half of today's Daily Immigration Dose. I'm Nipasa, and I'm joined by my co host Sam. And today's discussion is on: Will America face a food crisis if migrant workers are deported? So, friends, by watching our videos, you also understand that the information shared, including user comments, is not professional advice. Use at your own risk. Our intention is never to offend, it's just a casual exchange of ideas. So, it's been good, really, so far. Thank you so much, Yuri, also for your point of views and for those very important information. It's been a great discussion so far. And Sam, would you like to go with Nilanjana's comments as well, or
Yeah.
anything you want to add?
I think let's go with Nilanjana's question because we already come across half an hour. So let's take our viewers' comment. So, hi Nilanjana, and let me read out her comment. That is, farmers have begun raising concerns about the potential impact of President Donald Trump's mass deportations on their operations. But the president's nominee for Agricultural Secretary, Brooke Rollins, if farms are affected, okay, this is the one I think. Yeah, Rollins said during her nomination hearing in front of the U.S. Senate Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Thursday. If farms are affected by mass deportation, she and other administration officials would hopefully solve some of these problems. Well, we hope so, Nilanjana, that it happens and at least the agricultural workers don't have to suffer a lot because they don't deserve it. And they have been very helpful. They have been very supportive as well, not only for themselves, but obviously for the US people as well. So I think in this case, we have to be, I'm not saying to be lenient, but to be practical and to be right, because that's what right. And the one who haven't done any crime or the one who haven't, harmed the US community shouldn't be deported or shouldn't be facing such a problematic situation. So that's how it should be, and that's what we have been discussing. And here we have another comment from ZQ, and he's saying that, hey, I'm really interested about the deportation of the Indians. So sad. I think obviously that's a very major thing. That's I would say buzzing on social media right now about the Indian deportation, and we all have been hearing what's going through. 104 illegal Indian immigrants have been deported a few days back, like on 5th of February, and we actually don't know what the situation right now is happening or how many more should we expect in the upcoming days regarding the deportation. But I think there are more, and Trump is trying to remove those illegal Indian immigrants. And soon, I think we'll see more Indian immigrants coming back to the India, maybe from Texas to Amritsar again. So that's how I think it's going. And with that, Nepalsa, we already have discussed a lot of information in today's session. And we have talked about like how it's going to be affecting or how much will it affect. So we got to understand that it's going to affect severely, it's going to affect majorly. But is there anything else that you would like to add on to this session?
I mean, I was only talking about people are, afraid of going to their workplace, but it's not just about going to the workplace. This anxiety level has become so high that, whatever Trump administration or ICE raids have caused so far, that, many are also so afraid to leave their homes, even for basic necessities like groceries or even medical care, because they're so afraid that they would be traced and they would have to leave the country, they would have to leave the family. And some workers are also avoiding public spaces. They're relying on neighbors,
Yeah.
with legal status, who are, I mean, on status, to run their errands for them. So I think it's a whole different scenario, and everybody is affected. I mean, say for example, people who are on status, neighbors, loved ones, families, whoever, it's like they have more duties now because they have to take time out for, I mean, people who are out of status, because they don't want to be seen in public spaces or don't want their, I mean, anything. They're trying to be as safe as possible and as away from all these raids as much as possible.
Right. And here ZQ is saying that I had heard that one Indian spent lakhs and lakhs to get to America and he was cheated. Yeah, absolutely, ZQ. You got the right information. And it's not only one Indian. I think there are several Indians who have paid lakhs and lakhs, not only the middle class family, the bus drivers, the conductors, I would say farmers, and a lot of people, who cannot afford this much money, but they too have paid this much only for the sake that they could go and live in the America. But that's what they end up and have nothing right now. They are being deported, and that's very sad. And I think Napasa, we do have Robinson comment as well. So please go ahead and read out that as well.
Sure. But folks, I would just like to say once again that why don't you join us on call? It'll be really nice to have like you also a part of a discussion. All you have to do is dial this number 425-436-6335, and the access code is 988-888. ZQ, you can also call us, and it's so true about what you said. But then here's big advice to folks out there who are, trying to come to. So I think I'm getting a call on my WhatsApp, but I will have to cut it for now. Could you please hold on? I'll call you back. So, um, yes, folks. So what I was saying is, um, stay away from fraudulent institutions and try to do your research as much as possible so that you never get cheated. I think scams are also another thing, and it's also a very, very great. It's become huge in numbers. It's very hard for people with big dreams to go through such sad scenarios. They're paying so much money out of all their hard work, and yet they're being cheated. So I would really like to tell folks out there to be more alert, be more vigilant, do your research properly, and just don't fall prey into all these fraudulent scams.
That's right.
So, yeah.
And that's what.
Anything you want to add? I'm going to connect with ZQ
Yeah,
if
please.
that's fine.
Absolutely. I was waiting for that only. Because I think ZQ has a lot of information to talk about Indian deportation. So let's see what more he comes up with so that our viewers can also get to know.
Hi, ZQ. Thank you so much for calling us.
Hi, am I echoing?
No, you're good.
Okay. Um, Basically, what I was wanting to know, like, I was just following some of the news and everything, and this comment that I gave about lakhs and lakhs, this poor farmer, okay, he had spent about what um, Sam, I believe her name, Sam was saying that like they had spent about 50 to 60 lakhs to get to America. This individual, he spent about 42 to 50 lakhs. Okay, the news came on First Post, and it was also there and another channel. So he and his wife and their children and their son, they were actually informed and they were told that they will be sent to America, and at one point they will have to pay about 30 to 42 lakhs. End result, it became 42 lakhs. 42 lakh rupees for a farmer who sold his land. He leased off his land. He sold off his cow farm, milk and his dairy farm and everything. He sold all of that. This is actually a news that I have seen, and that's what I'm just saying. I'm not saying it in other words. He sold all of that. Then he borrowed some extra money, and all of this for a cheating agent. Okay, the agent and the agency was cheating. All throughout the process, they were contacting him. Okay, now you'll be sent here to this country. Okay, now you'll be sent to that country. So basically, they were following that, what do you call that, that route, the donkey route, right? They were being used to be, they'll get to America, but they will be using the donkey route to get to America. 32 lakhs, 42 lakhs upfront, then another 5 lakhs, then another 10 lakhs. So basically, they were just borrowing money and they were just like sending money, giving money to these people to get to America. And at the end of the day, It took him 8 months to get to America, and he probably didn't even be there for about a month or so. And now that Trump is here, he got caught, he got sent back. And he was one of the Indians who was in the C-17 flight, the deportation flights that landed in Amritsar. And it came, he was a Punjabi. He was a Punjabi. So they landed over there. His whole life devastated, entire earnings that he had earned overall all through his life gone. So, and on top of that, he was sent, and hundreds of them, hundreds of others like him, they were sent back to India. And even those who were sent back to Guatemala, Colombia, etc., all those deported, they were sent back as criminals by getting handcuffed. Their legs were also tied.
Mhm.
They didn't have food. Whatever food they were given, they had to have it with their hands cuffed. So we as viewers, we are just seeing whatever we can see on TV or on the social media and everything. But yeah, sorry for interrupting. And it's just, I really like your show. That's it. I really like your show, and sometimes I comment here and there.
Thank you so much,
So
ZQ. It really means
I
a
just
lot.
felt like commenting and just like talking about this. This is really. Uh, Although I'm not from India, I'm from
Where are you
another
from?
country,
Okay.
so I feel that this should not happen. Okay, if you want to deport, send them away, deport them. Okay, they were there illegally given, but they're not criminals. Okay, they were cheated, but you don't need to handcuff them. You don't need to treat them like criminals. Well, the only thing that was left, like they would be given prison attire, the orange colored prison attire or the striped prison attire, and then they would have been sent back. So you're completely, the Trump administration is actually labeling them just like criminals.
That
But
is there, but
these
yes,
poor
it's such a
people, these are
sad
the people
one.
who are actually helping to build up the economy. These poor people, these farmers, will be going back, and they'll be, if they were in America, they would be working in these farms. And those farms and those agriculture, they'll be processed, and it will come back into Walmart, Macy's, etc., wherever, all the super shops and everything.
Mhm.
So they're working in these fields. These poor people working in the fields, and consumerism is taking place all over America. But now these people will not be there. So America is basically hitting itself on its leg, on its knee, or on its with a stick. Okay, I don't know. I'm not a politician. I don't know much. Sorry, sorry, I'm taking up too much of your time. Thank you.
No, that's okay.
Thanks, Basa. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you,
Thank you
Zad.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, ZQ, really, for your kind comments. Also appreciate that
Yeah,
you keep watching our show
enough.
and that you like. Thank you so much, and folks out there, there you go. I think what ZQ mentioned is also another very heartbreaking scene out there. People, scammers taking advantage and exploiting the dreams of so many dreamers out there who want to go to America and live their American dream. Um, I really hope that folks out there do not fall prey into such, frauds and scams, which is so happening so much really nowadays when we hear. So, thank you so much once again. So, Sam, would you like to check
Yeah.
out Robinson's comment?
I think before checking out Robinson comment, I would also like to share something for ZQ's
Yeah.
information. So ZQ, that was really, I would say, thank you so much for letting us know about this whole story of a whole deported illegal immigrant that we haven't been very much aware about any particular person's story. And I think most of the time, Nepasa, I have seen that Indians are not against the deportation. They're not having this feeling, I would say, they're not having this negative feeling towards why those Indians or why those illegal Indian immigrants have been deported. Their major concern is that why they have been in handcuffed, why they have been in shackles. This is major concern that most of the people they have, and this is what in Indian government also, different political parties are also raising concern regarding this only. Like that's okay if they have been deported, and that's the rule of a certain country. How how the system works, right? So that was okay, but their major concern is why they have been deported with the handcuffs, and why they have been eating food also with handcuffs, and they weren't even giving food properly. It was like a 30, 40 hours of flight journey, and they have been treated like a prisoner. So this is the major concern I think most of the Indian people they are having, and that's okay. They have different point of view. Some people have different, some people have, they have their own perspective. But overall, I think our main concern is to make our people aware, make our viewers aware about each and every detail that's happening around the world, especially in terms of immigration. And what's your call? What's your point of view? It's completely on you. You have to decide what's right and what's wrong. But I think by subscribing to our channel, you can be completely aware about what's happening in the world of immigration. So, with that, I would say let's move ahead with our next viewer's comment. And Robinson is here, and the comment is proposed deportations would be absolutely devastating, not just for immigrant households, but most American households. Flores said, okay, mass deportations would disrupt the food chain at a time when inflation is one of workers' most pressing concerns. He added that such deportations would slow production and increase prices of many grocery store staples, including milk, wheat, and eggs. I think, yeah, absolutely. That's what Robinson we have been speaking, and we have been talking about this from the beginning of a session that it's really going to be. Increase, I would say inflation will be there, and basic necessary foods, like wheat, rice, eggs, these are daily food that most of the people have it. And what if the prices will rise and they have to, I would say, go ahead and they can't even afford to have milk per day. This is really going to be a very devastating situation, and this is really going to be very difficult. So, yeah, I think that's what may happen if the deportation will take place for the agricultural workers. But hopefully, we are trying, or we hope that it shouldn't happen that in a very brutal way. So, let's see what happens. But yeah, I would say let's see and let's hope what happens. And hopefully, whatever happens, happens for the good. So, I think, yeah, Nepal, so that's all I wanted to conclude.
I think I want to put up this quote from Zokild Nuens, if I'm pronouncing it right, the 16-year-old who voiced out of frustration, saying, on your we put food on your table. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. So, folks, I think this is a very thought-provoking quote, and I would want to know your opinion as well. What do you support? What do you think should be done? And I mean, many farmers, farm workers, they really feel betrayed by the country. Also, they're feeling frustrated, they're also fearful at the same time about what is going to happen. And all these immigration policies are, now making these people's job feel so dangerous. And imagine, like, they have this fear all the time that ICE officers will show up at farms and arrest them during their shifts. So many are even choosing to stay home rather than risk deportation. So you can already see the impact that it's bringing out. This whole scene, the ICE raids and the fear of getting deported. So tell us what you think in the comments. We would really like to know what you think, folks.
Absolutely. And I think with that, Napasa, it's almost time, and I think we should wrap up, right? As we already shared a lot of information regarding today's topic, and I hope our viewers are smart enough to decide according to them what's right and what's wrong. But what's your call, friends? I would really appreciate if you could mention your views or your information in the comment section, because that's how we can try to increase our information, and that's how we can increase our learnings as well. So make sure to comment here on the comment section even after this live stream gets an end, and we will be here definitely to answer your question even after the live stream ends. So yeah, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. We will come back again tomorrow at 4 p.m. EST and with another very exciting topic, another very important topic that will be very thoughtful and that will be very timely. So press the bell icon so that you get the notification whenever we upload any video or whenever we come live. Thank you so much, everyone. I think Napasa, it was really a great session, and you also brought up some such a great points. So yeah, I think that's all for today's episode, and thank you so much, everyone, to Napasa also. Meanwhile, I'm Sam, and
Thank
my
you
co-host
too.
Napasa Pradhan is signing off for now. So goodbye, everyone. Take care and stay connected and stay tuned. You're watching Immigration Talk Show.